box type affairs. I mean, certainly with Sabai on the, I would challenge anybody to install that on the machine and tell me how that's any less user friendly or any less newbie friendly than Ubuntu. It's got to the stage now. It even has a feature which I don't believe Ubuntu has, and it's if you're installing any proprietary software when you're installing the operating system, it has a very useful feature where you can actually batch accept the end user license agreements. Now, I'm not sure if the latest version of Ubuntu has that feature, but certainly in Sabian it's absolutely fantastic, because obviously if I'm installing my proprietary drivers, whatever, at install time I can just click global yes or globally accept the terms and conditions. I know I shouldn't. I know I should read them, but I don't. I haven't got the time. And it just does everything for me. So yeah, I think Ubuntu, whilst great as it is, whilst well supported, fantastic community, I think there is so much more out there that offers just as good functionality, just as good user friendliness. I mean, I can't see any reason why my distro now is any less user friendly for a brand new Linux user straight from Windows. I haven't yet tested that theory, but I certainly will in the future. So I just wanted to add that in there, Roy.
Yeah, I think we've covered many of the issues we wanted to cover. Although one thing I was hoping to do at some stage back in November was actually to do a comprehensive coverage of all the points, and I think we both basically run some sites, and we tend to be a bit more comprehensive to the point where we cover whatever needs to be covered. And on this show, as we stated, especially in the first few episodes, it's a bit like improvising in some sense, because we come on the show, we don't have any specific plan. We have some the sites that we look at throughout the show, and we try to come up with ideas and reasonable things to say, and put the show notes together while we're actually doing the show instead of doing it in advance. And I think that's been working for us pretty well, and we've grown in terms of the number of listeners, and yeah, that's and I look forward to the next show. We did one yesterday. We did actually one less than 24 hours ago.
I mean, I think as well, Roy, what needs to be said, yeah, we have very different viewpoints in many areas of IT, and globally. One of the things that we want to show TechBytes to be is that we all have separate views, and there's probably majority of topics that me and Roy probably completely disagree about, but that doesn't matter, because obviously we put our opinions aside, and the whole purpose of both our sites and Gordon's is for you to read what we write and go off and make your own decision based on your own research. We wouldn't suggest that anybody would follow us blindly because what we say is the only right way. Obviously, we present what we have to say, we present our opinions, and it's up to you to decide who you agree with. I certainly have a more pro-proprietary viewpoint than Roy, I think it's fair to say. That doesn't make me right or Roy right. Obviously, the decision is yours, and that's a great thing maybe about Linux and free and open source software. You're not locked into any particular route. If you want to have a completely free and open source system, fine, you can go for it. They can cater for that. If you want to have a mishmash, Sorry, yeah, go on.
Before, you're going to move to a different mail client, and my understanding is probably because you used Thunderbird before, it's probably an Mbox format or MailDeer, where MailDeer basically stores all your messages as separate items, and that's not a very efficient thing if you have lots of messages, but it's probably all in Mbox, which of course Microsoft will not recognize as a suitable format because they have their own, I think, PSD file, which contains all the things. A very, very bad decision which can basically make your whole mail kind of explode under some circumstances. And what I was going to say, though, is when you want to move between mail clients in Linux, because there is no intention and there is no incentive to lock in the user in, it's really exceptionally easy to move between them and just keep the same directories and even access the same mail from different clients at the same time because they use the same standards, the same open standards for mail. Microsoft did something they kind of like open source to kind of made it better documented, the formats that they use in Outlook. I'm not sure if the same applies for Outlook Express, but in any case, they only did this for reasons of kind of compliance and trying to get people to mess around with their tools and kind of support Outlook from the outside, but it's more of a catch-up move, and it's still really not so simple to escape the Microsoft formats, although you do have importers and exporters now, not coming from Microsoft itself, but actually the applications and the rivals have to write some tools to translate the Microsoft formats into something that's a standard. So that's a nice thing, as you said, about the fact that Linux is not afraid of offering choice to users, and there is no competition and there is no exclusion. There is no competition for exclusion of the competition, but actually trying to use what's available in terms of standards, and instead of something which works with somebody else. And then you try to give the user what the user wants, and you don't really want to serve yourself by restricting the ability to move to something else. And that's one of the main differences when you talk about freezing freedom software and something that's just basically a tool to make lots of money with.
Well, I think, Roy, by my reckoning, and I know we had to have a break for my Sky engineer to come and do his thing with my dish, I believe we've been running for about 2 hours this show. I think the second part of our recording is an hour and 23 minutes, and I think the first part was about half an hour. So I think if it's okay with you, we'll wrap the show up here. If you've got anything else you want to add before we leave the show?
That'll be fine. Yeah, we can just start the show.
Okay. All right. We'll end on our just standard track of "I Fought the Troll" by Tom Smith. As always, the links will be in the show notes to that. It was a very impromptu show today, but there was some things, I think, as a supplement to yesterday's, because we got sidetracked by other topics that we wanted to put out. Unfortunately, Gordon wasn't in the TechBytes channel at the time. He still hasn't arrived yet, so unfortunately we just went ahead without him, but I don't think he'll mind. So sorry, Gordon, but I hope you're listening to this show, and I hope everybody's enjoyed listening to it. Thank you very much for downloading, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Friday night and I'm gonna get sauce. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He tried to boss me and was outbossed. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. Underneath his Freebird Bridge, hoping goats will cross. Quoting Ashcroft and Tom Ridge, I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He's even dumber than Mickey Cost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. Wouldn't last 2 minutes with David Frost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. His worldview sounds like pro wrestling, although not as nuanced. Behind his eyes the wind's whistling. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I kicked him off a Pentagon and Atrios. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He's permanently banned from daily costs. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. And in November, W and all his thugs will toss. We'll try to fix America. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. And all you trolls out there trying to aggravate everyone with your stupidity, illogic, and blind, unthinking devotion to the Bush regime, this section is especially for you. I'm not going to name any of you out loud, not wanting to give you even the slightest possible notoriety, but as you sink under the weight of your own asininity into an intellectual La Brea tar pit, you can imagine that I sing your nom de guerre right now and bask in a stolen fame you don't deserve.